Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we're talking with Juno nominated jazz artist Denielle Bassels. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Pretty good. It's been a nice day out, so it's never a bad time to have a good conversation with someone.
Yeah, it's been gorgeous out. I hope it's not El Nino.
Actually, apparently it is an El Nino year this year.
Oh, is it? Does that mean we're going to get the cold summer?
I'm not exactly sure how it works. I think it's we get the odd winter, and the next year is supposed to be insane, or whoever judged that El Nino cycle. I'm not sure.
Yeah, payback.
Yeah. So we're here today to talk about you, about your music, about what you do in the world. But for those who are new, can you give a little bit of a intro about yourself?
I'm a jazz musician from Toronto, and I have my influences cover a multitude of genre from punk to ska to country. And I got my start when I was an au pair, which is another word for nanny, when I was living in Switzerland. And the boy took drum lessons at a jazz school. And I would bring him there, and I met all the teachers and students and people that showed me the jazz scene. And that's where I actually started performing jazz, was there. And
Okay,
then I to Toronto to just get a firmer foundation in music. And I went to Humber College, and that's how it all started.
nice. So would you say there's anyone specifically that influenced your sound as you were coming up? I know you said you had a lot of different influence, but is there like one that you went, I really want to be someone like that?
Yeah, I think it was Ella Fitzgerald. I first heard her in a shopping mall at Christmas singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I was
Hmm.
like, "Who is this?"
Yeah.
And she really shaped my voice. I would call her like a vocal coach because I sat and copied her forever. And then I heard Nina Simone, and it was the same thing. So I feel like my vocal my vocals started with those jazz artists.
They sparked that influence in a sense.
Definitely.
And I mean, those are two of the names that really you would think do a lot of influence sparking for jazz musicians, I would think.
It definitely,
Hmm.
definitely, yeah. And then there was Aretha Franklin, of course.
Yes. Yeah,
Same.
Aretha has always been I've always been a fan, and I was lucky enough to actually have a conversation with her son last year or the year before, and it was really cool to hear some of those stories of
Uh,
her life because he was her guitarist in her band for 30 years. So he was there for all of it, really.
Whoa,
Hmm.
what a conversation. Oh, it'd be a
Just
fly
went
on
on
the wall.
forever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so cool.
So you have some newer music recently with the a little bit of love that was released in 2023.
Yep.
Give a
In
little
June.
story behind that.
The story behind the album or
Yeah, just kind of what how did it come together? What was it kind of influence? What was the feeling behind it?
this this time around, like the first album was a sort of I guess coming of age, or that's how I felt about it. But I feel like this album was really the coming of age. I wanted to really dig deeper into the songwriting process and really write about real things like personal events in my life. And I mean, I had a really tumultuous time when I was growing up and when I was trying to find myself as an artist. And uh, I didn't want to tell people what happened or that part of me or those dark things because I was maybe ashamed. I saw it as a failure, but I had learned to overcome certain aspects of that and realize that those things that we all go through make us who we are and make us unique,
Hmm.
and that way we can all share these things with each other. So I wanted to send a message to my listeners. I wanted to communicate on a deeper level, and I wanted to tell some of those stories that I was kind of embarrassed about, and I no longer am. So when you overcome things and you move through your life, it's because of a little bit of love from a lot of different sources that you don't always realize are there for you. And so it's that message of paying it forward, um, accepting
Hmm.
and loving yourself enough to power through a situation. And I call it the Moses down the mountain moment. When he comes down, he's a changed person. I'm not necessarily religious, but it's like when people go through some stuff, and we all do, we all come out of it a new person, a new version of
Hmm. That
us.
analogy fits for sure.
Yeah.
So is there a specific way you put together an album or like a track in general, like your process? Do you hunker down and write stuff or like kind of just figure it out as you go?
Um, I don't sit down to write an album. I write whatever is kind of going on and whatever I'm feeling.
Mhm.
Um, and then you choose the songs that kind of fit with the story to make the album. I don't know if everyone does that nowadays. It's all about singles, but I think I still do to a certain extent do that. And when I record the album, before I would do it in pieces. We would start with the actual song. I would write the song and arrange the song. But in the first album, a lot of the arranging was done during the recording process. And this time, the songs were already sort of arranged. And then the pandemic hit, and we had a lot of people coming and going. People were moving around, um, people were getting sick, and so we had a lot of personnel changes. So a lot of the arrangement and the production was done sort of sporadically.
Hmm.
Um, and then there was a series of events that kind of thwarted the album. We had some major technical issues that could have been, like, don't be like this,
Hmm.
like don't let this happen. The case of Denielle Bassels, and we had to record a lot of it again after all the money was spent. So that was interesting. But again, from that, I grew because I was only supposed to record vocals with Tom just to start the process of just chipping away
Hmm.
at the album and trying to get it finished. Sorry, the answer is so long.
Oh, that's fine. People like to hear things like this because
Okay.
other creatives like to see
Uh,
how people go through these things.
okay. So yeah, I wanted to just start with the vocals and make sure that I was happy with those, and then I would figure out who was going to come and what they were going to record and how they were going to record. I didn't even know where, because I didn't have a studio anymore. I didn't have a producer anymore. So that's when I met Tom Mackay from Exeter Sound Studios, and when he heard the songs, he loved them, and we immediately had a rapport, and I told him what happened, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna make this album,
Nice.
like let's do it. And he rolled up his sleeves, and we rolled up our sleeves together, and we chipped away at it for about a year and a half, and only because the funds were gone. So I was, doing what I could with gigs and
Hmm.
teaching, and every time I got something, I would put it towards a session, and away we'd go. And we finally got it done. And it turned out like leaps and bounds better than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, like so I was listening to it a bit beforehand, and one of the questions that I kind of pull from that is I'm curious what you think your key evolution is going back from like 2017's release to now, and what you think the key point is about your music evolving into this new album.
I feel like actually it was something that one of my guitarists said to me when we were developing something, and it was Tangled Thread. And I needed help arranging it a little bit. I was a little stuck at one point, and he was like, you just need to keep composing. You just need to keep writing, and then come back to me. And I don't know why that hit me so hard, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna dig deeper into songwriter development, get into production a lot more. And I did. I dove into the production side, and I really developed all the songs to the point that when we got to the studio, we were more ready than ever to get them down
Mm.
and to really hear and know what they were going to sound like once everything was done. So this album was more kind of me stretching out and just gaining the skills that I didn't have as much of the first time around, and digging deeper into those processes. I learned so much. I learned so much with Tom and everybody who was a part of this.
I definitely think it's paid off. I mean, you got a Juno nomination going on right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm so happy. It was such a surprise. It's amazing because like as artists we go through these waves of like unbelievable self-doubt.
Hmm.
And because a lot of the money was spent, there wasn't really any left over for promotion.
Hmm.
And so I thought, okay, well, on to the next album. This one's going to be funded by Factor, so let's just roll with that. And then I said to a friend, well, I guess maybe I'm not good enough because this is happening with my music, and I don't know why I'm doing this. And it's just something we say. We get over it, and then we're fine again. But
Hmm.
a week later, the Juno nomination happened. So just like to all the artists that get that wave of, am I doing the right thing? You do it because a musician and you can't help yourself, and it's about the music. Keep plugging away, and and things will happen. It doesn't have to be a nomination or a pat on the back. You're making music because it's wonderful to be able to make music.
Yeah, and those milestones are always there. You just have to keep walking towards it, really.
True. Yeah.
And I think everyone has different milestones. Like a Juno nomination might not be even in the thought process of someone else. They might be trying to, play a certain venue, and then all of a sudden, hey, we can do that, or open for a certain act, or anyone really.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many career milestones that can happen that are unexpected if you just keep moving forward.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think it takes to stand out as a musician these days with, social media being able to spread music across the globe so quickly, and like you said, lots of singles coming out. How do you
Mhm.
how do you grab your piece of that pie, really?
I think the most important thing is to be true to yourself, to know yourself, to be authentic, and to truly love what you're doing. If you try to please others, uh, it comes across as that, and people don't respond. People to respond to the person, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, I mean I find that's pretty much the golden rule. If you're not yourself, then how are you gonna make someone believe in you, really?
Right, right. You can't. You can't. They just won't. They won't engage. Yeah.
And you see that a lot too. Like, so I'm a fan of multiple genres myself, and I look at the hip hop world, for instance. You can have someone have a single blow up and it does really well, but then they fade off for the next one because it turned out it was manufactured and it didn't really have that gripping moment that held you on to the next one. If you can't keep that momentum up, then where are you going to go?
Right, right. That's the hardest thing too, because we also have these moments of like self-realization and zen, and we go for it, and those moments are hard to wrangle. They're hard to harness and always be there when you need them. So I think that constant practice, constant honing. I mean, most songwriters don't write 10 hit songs in a row. They might write 1,000 and have one
Hmm.
wonderful song. So I think it's important to just keep writing those awful songs and
Yeah.
make sure you're picking the right ones when you put them on the album.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
place the right one and it hits, then that's the one for sure.
Yeah.
Now, the music industry being as crazy as it is, and the big prevalence of mental health, especially after COVID and all that fun stuff. What do you do to stay grounded outside of the music world right now?
Well, it's not easy, I have to say. I think what the important thing is reaching out to friends and family,
Hmm.
um, or making sure you're talking to somebody. If you don't have anyone, talk to a therapist, talk to a counselor. But if you have people in your life, reach out to them, make sure they're okay, and stay together. Um, and I love being alone at home. Like during the pandemic, I was like, okay, I get to create stuff, I get to do stuff that I want, and
Hmm.
I kind of get into a little funk. And I forgot to reach out. And so to me, the most important thing is just get outside, get some sun, meet people, keep your social circle active.
Yeah, that's always a huge help. I know for myself, I didn't mind the pandemic. I work from home, so it
Yeah.
didn't change much for me. And I kind of was able to create, like you said, and do a lot more in that sense. And I did find that there was that lack of, human contact every so often, and I had to fix that. But it wasn't as bad as others I know who went through a lot of things.
Yeah, especially the extroverts, like they
Hmm.
really had a hard time. And so then you're going to, I mean, my friend lives down the street, Tia Brazda. She's also a jazz artist. Like we helped each other through the pandemic. I'm an introvert, she's an extrovert. So she needed that time, outside having the coffee, make sure she's seeing a face.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, definitely, I feel like the extroverts had a harder time.
Yeah, I have to force myself to be an extrovert. I know in the industry that I'm involved in, it's you have to be some sort of extrovert, but if I can manage to not see people every so often, I'm okay with that too.
I'm with you. We'd
Mhm.
probably make great roommates.
Yeah, every so often has it going, sit and watch a movie, whatever, and good to go.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple fun questions I always like to toss out, especially for people I'm having a first time interview with, because it picks your brain a little bit and we can see how you think.
Okay.
I think a fun one for you will be what's something on your go-to playlist that people wouldn't expect you listen to? I know we talked a few big names earlier, but I'm looking for the deep cuts that someone might not think you have on your list.
Oh my gosh. Operation Ivy, she's a bombshell.
Okay.
Uh, and I'm really liking Tao and the Get Downs.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Hmm.
Um, who yeah, I love Fiona Apple's new work.
I haven't
Um,
listened to it actually.
like Fetch the Bolt Cutters.
Mhm.
And I really love her Idler Wheel album. Everything that she's done, like in this millennium, uh, is on my list. I love
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good names. I'm gonna have to. I haven't checked out Fiona's stuff recently, so I'll have to go take a look and see.
Yeah. The Idler Wheel, very raw, very cool, very contemporary, but edgy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you had to pick one person to play you in the biopic of your life, like the movie of you and your music, who would it be?
Whoa. Okay. Well, I don't know. Wow. I've never thought about that before. I don't know why Queen Latifah came into my mind. Um, I think our personalities are pretty close. I have never met her, but I love everything she does.
Hmm.
And she's tall like me. I'm 6'1".
Okay.
And I heard that she was also really tall, and we're both curvy, robust, strong women. I would say she came to my mind first. I'm gonna say Queen Latifah, or we got to pick someone else too. I need um I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of anybody.
Well, not
Uh
knowing Queen Latifah personally, I mean, you do have what I can see as a similar energy. I can see that for sure.
yeah, I always felt some kind of yeah, connection with her whenever I watched her. I felt close to her in some way.
Hmm.
Uh let's see. Yeah. Um what's the comedian? Melissa McCarthy.
Okay. Yeah.
I could also see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. Queen Latifah is going to do you justice on the vocals. Melissa will do the justice on the, the fun side of everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm,
Yeah.
that's a good combination. Now, more serious question, because this one's going to make you think the most. My favorite question I always ask is, what's one thing you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
Oh, wow, that's a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
What should be asked in an interview that isn't asked enough? Oh man, I don't want to take an hour contemplating.
This
That's
one's always the
really
one that makes people think the most.
shoot. Um, oh, what I would want to be asked, or what I just got lipstick on my chin. What I would want to be asked.
Yeah, like if you're watching an interview, you might see, oh, I want to know more about this topic from this person. Like everyone wants to know something when they're watching an interview. That's the reason you're watching it, and you want to know that
Right,
interesting point. So, I mean, as an interviewer, I can't always pick the best points out. So it's
right.
curious what other people think.
Well, I would say, yeah, I feel like you asked me, but if I was to sit down and have a coffee with my favorite artist, I would ask them maybe, what is your biggest fear when you are writing a song?
Okay.
What would you what kind of gives you pause, or it makes you doubt, and then what pushes you through it? I
Yeah,
don't know.
the good and the bad of writing process.
Yeah, like what inspires you to write a song? How does it spark within you? And then how do you deal with it? I don't know.
No, I
Yeah.
like that. That's a nice. It's a more deep cut because not everyone likes to share those fears.
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
one. I'm gonna note that one for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good one. Another one that's gonna make you think too is how do you feel? How do you feel you have grown in your music journey as a person, as a musician?
Um, how do I feel I have grown?
Like we've talked about how your music has grown, but I'm more interested of you. Like what do you think is your growth in that been?
That's a hard one too.
Hmm.
That'd be a hard question. I mean, I would have to say I'm always learning. There's always something to learn. I feel like um, I didn't grow up with music lessons or a music family. I actually hid music from my family until I was a full adult, and then they came into the place that I was working and heard me singing karaoke and were like, "What?" Um, and it was only because I knew that my mom couldn't afford those lessons, and we had to. I took one piano lessons, and then the subsidy stopped,
Okay.
and she was upset, and I was upset. So I don't know, and it was kind of a personal thing too. So I kept it to myself, and I was always shy to sing in front of people, and I feel like once I was pushed to go up on stage and do it, I just it was like an awakening. It was,
Hmm.
oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Oh, you're gonna give me a guitar before I embark on my journey. This is all sort of clicking together. And when I wrote my first song on the guitar, I knew that this was it. There's nothing else. And then I started studying music on my own, from books, and I feel like from that point where I felt I knew how much there was, and I felt so late. Like I felt like it was going to be such a difficult journey. Um, and looking back now, I see that it was so much fun, and it wasn't. it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was a great, wonderful experience. And I ended up meeting a lot of wonderful people and really finding that focus in life was such a blessing. And I feel like now at this point, I'm able to communicate where I wasn't before when I was singing in Switzerland as just a jazz singer. I didn't know how to count in a band. I didn't know what a chord was. I would hear people saying C7, F sharp, and I was like, ah, and not really being that great, I don't think. Um, but now I feel like I'm able to communicate my needs and wants and really shape the music with the players instead of just being someone that's on the outskirts of what's
Mm.
happening. I feel like I can be really inside now. And that's a really great feeling.
Yeah, and that sounds like a really great personal growth story, really.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's another one that I've only added that question in recently to interviews because it was something I came across and I was like, wow, that actually might really hit home a little bit more, I think.
That was a great question.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So a couple more before we end out. This one's a fun one, I think, is what do you hope people take away from your music as fans?
I hope that they see themselves in the music when they hear this album. um, because I really wanted to send that message to people. And I really wanted to give them a chance to dive in and see what the song was all about. So I wanted those layers there. So, like Tangled Thread, for instance, it's got this jumpy beat and it's so fun to sing on stage. And when people hear it, they just want to be a part of it. And but underneath is a super dark message about depression and showing the two sides of that mental illness. Is that usually the people suffering on the outside can be the comedians, can be the star of the show, can make everybody laugh, but then there's all this stuff going on underneath. So it's just bringing awareness to that. And the song talks about reaching out, like I said before, when you're in that state, the most important thing is to reach out and ask for help. And with a lot of sufferers of depression, they don't,
Hmm.
and that's a danger zone. And so that's what this song talks about is that danger zone and really just driving that message home that no matter where you are, you've got to reach out and get help.
Hmm.
That's what I did. I literally screamed to the skies for help by Lake Ontario, and by some miracle, it was sent.
No, and
Yeah,
I think everyone needs to realize that you can ask for help. You can go out and get
yeah,
solution. You don't have to hide behind things.
yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Now, I call this one my favorite child question. If you were to introduce a new fan to your music for the first time, what's the first song that they need to listen to?
Cool, cool water.
Cool, cool water. Okay.
Oh, it should be on this album, shouldn't it?
Oh no, anyone, because you might have a real moment that you had with that song, and that's why I think it's the best way to introduce someone is if you have a song that you think kind of fits the best moment of your music.
Yeah. Well, okay, Cool Cool Water was me in the past.
Okay.
And in this future, I think the song, like in this now, I think the song that I would send them would be Lazy Gazing.
Okay.
Because Lazy Gazing was the turning point. So that Lazy Gazing was the moment when my songwriting changed and it depicted like a really true event that happened to me. It's fun, it's jazzy, it goes poppy, it goes folky, and it embodies and weaves together all these genres where if you don't know jazz and you dip your toe in the waters of Denielle Bassels, you'll know that it's just so all encompassing.
Hmm.
And it's in all music, but they don't have to dive into. They'll see something familiar
Nice.
in it.
See, that's the answer for that question right there. You just totally described a feeling, and I think that's the song people need to listen to for sure.
Thank you. Wow, those were really good questions. Like fairly hard, but we got
Makes you think. That's why I leave them to the end because we can have fun throughout, and then you go, "Oh, wait a minute."
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
So
awesome.
I have two more before we finish off, and they're nice and simple ones for you.
Okay, thank you.
What's your motivation to keep walking down your musical path?
I feel like it's a part of me. I feel like I, I feel like being an artist and a musician chose me, or we chose each other. And I feel like I mean, knock on wood, I'm always able to sing and write songs because I don't really want to do anything else. I love music. I love learning new things, learning about new forms of music from all over the world. Um, and constantly improving my skills so that I can push myself in more directions. Like for my next album, I want to work with a poet and I want to write French songs. So I'm learning French.
Okay.
Um, for some reason, singing in French just feels good in my body and always has. And when I was speaking French or living in the French part of Switzerland, where all my musical that's where the bug
Hmm.
actually got me. And so, yeah, just opportunities like that to meet new people and explore and stretch, just make it all fresh and exciting.
And I think the French part is almost like a good kind of roundabout come back to your roots in a sense.
True, like full circle,
Hmm.
definitely. And I will be going there for a residency
Okay.
um, next year to write that album.
I think that'll be pretty fun.
I can't wait.
Hmm. All right, last question, most important question. Are you happy?
Am I happy? Like
Hmm.
in my life?
Just happy. Are you happy in your life? Are you happy in music? Are you happy?
I'm happy with I'm happy with my music. I'm happy with my musical life. Um, and I'm working on being happy in my life. I feel like I put a lot of energy in my musical life, and sometimes the other parts of my life, like family and all that, might suffer a little bit. So I'm working on getting a better balance there.
I think that's a little bit of everyone. They need a balance on things. So that's a pretty good way to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the points I have here. It's definitely great to pick your brain and get to, learn a little bit more about you.
Thank you so much. And nice to meet you too. And thanks for having me.
Is there any kind of final words of wisdom you'd like to leave to people before we sign off?
Final words of wisdom. Well, I would say the best thing that I could say is everything happens when you leave your house. Nothing can
Okay.
happen twice. That's it.
I know
And
I
pay it
need to take that
forward
personally because I don't leave my house if I don't have to.
and show it a little bit of love. A little bit of love can change the world.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That's nice. Where can people find you on social media, things like that?
I'm on all the platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They can purchase music on Bandcamp if they like, and I'll send them a little message because I love stationery. So I will just have to send them a lovely little personal note.
Okay.
Uh, and if you want to ask me a question, you can go to my website and ask me a question.
All right. Well, I'll make sure to link those things in the description so people can find them and get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you so much.
Well, it was great chatting with you, and I do hope we get to do this again. It's always nice to catch up with old friends.
Thank you so much. Great to meet you. Great
Mhm.
questions. It's
Thank you. I
been fun.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.